All right, we're going to change out the front seal in this. Just make sure that's the right one. It is. All right, there's only one way to go. This is the back right here. This is the front, back, front. Okay, this old one's got to come out, so it's a real simple process. You just hook it with the seal puller, get behind it, yank on it, and out it comes. All right, now you can see the little cracks, and this thing is hard as a rock. Doesn't have no give. New one, ooh, nice and soft, no cracks, no nothing, and it's a pretty simple process. All right, she's in there. That's how you do that. That's how you change it out. There you go. Quick polish. Just a quickie. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good enough for this build. All right, next we're going to use Permatex Black. All right. And this is one of those ones you just get in here and you just get... I like to take the first little bit that's been sitting out, and then you get to the good stuff. There you go. Get to the good stuff. We're just going to, because down here in these corners is important, because that's where the oil, when it comes from the galley, is going to splash a lot from these two holes back here onto the gear, but the oil is going to pool down in here, and it's actually going to dip the bottom of that gear in the oil. So you want to make sure and get this all done right here. And everybody has their own preference, but I always just put blue stripe out. I just been my thing, blue stripe out. All right, just line it up to the holes. All right, and then we're going to do it again, and then we're just going to coat this surface with silicone, make sure she's lined up good, tight on the block, just like this, and then we're going to go for second round. All right, and it doesn't take a lot, just enough to cover, and don't worry about it going in, covering the holes. That's even better. Okay. Get all the silicone off my fingers because I don't want to get it on the chrome of this beautiful, freshly polished chrome cover. All right, and then we're going to just do this, set it on the tabs, set it in the tabs, set it on tabs. Now, you have to put this on before you put the pan on because there's the gasket that goes right here. All right. And like I said, you see me do it, I bag everything up so that way I know I got them. All right. Because you're going to need a ton of these little suckers like this. And they've already been run through the cleaner and spray with WD-40. And they have the little star bits on them. See? It's the lock washers from the factory. That's all of them for this. And it's going to be, I believe that's 7/16. And you can just run them down by hand real quick. I'm sure there's some kind of tightening pattern. Somebody around this world has decided that's the best way to do it, but just run them down by hand from the bottom up is what I've always done, because like I said, this is the most important right here, these two bolts, because of the oil splash from the pan. So I want the bottom ones seated as best as possible. This cover, I mean, it looks pretty and everything, but I mean, it's as old as Methuselah. It's probably as old as I am. But all I did was put it in that cleaner, and I took a little bit of polish to it just by hand with a paper towel and wiped it off, and it turned out really nice. This fits better. There we go. And I'm sure there's some inch, pound, torquage, blah, 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 blah for these, and we ain't doing all that. There. We'll just do this one the old-fashioned way like this. There we go. We'll just double check this one while we're at it. Yep, nice and tight. There we go. Yep, we're good to go. That part's done. Oh, by the way, this is the part number for the timing chain. If you guys want to do it, there'll be links down below for all this stuff. Okay, so you got one for the back. See how it goes down? It's going to meet the cork, and then you have the nice big thick one for the front. All right, so now we got to lay some silicone down and put the gasket down. Gasket material on. There's two different sides to the gaskets. All right, I got one side where the dipstick tube goes, and it's right here. All right. And we're just going to slide it in place. All right. Line it up with the holes. Easiest thing to do. All right. And then this one is the one for the back. I always, like I said, just my preference, blue strap up. All right. Bring it around. Put it where it needs to go, line it up with the holes, tuck it up underneath right there, tuck it up underneath right here, right in that little groove, boom, right in the groove. There's a groove in the cap that it goes into, right now it sits on top, and then we'll take the gasket material, all right. And the great thing about this stuff is it does not dry right away. It gives you time. You know, like the black stuff, it was like trying to dry as I was doing it. But this stuff does a great job. And again, I just like daubing the corners. The corners are important, okay? These corners are important, all right? Are very important. They're the most susceptible to a leak. All right. Thing over here, let's spread it out a little bit. So we got good sealing surface. On it goes. It's just that simple. All right. Over the rubber, pushing the seal. Yep. Lining up with the holes. Yep. Yes, it is. All right. And then we're back to the bag of goodies. All right. The one thing about these engines is they have 7/16 bolts here, but they have 4 1/2-inch bolts on the corners. All right. And preferably the longer ones in this back corner into the block. All right. Sometimes you got to wiggle them a little bit, but all right, and I always do these center out. This is one of those center out. I just, whoops, I start here and I crisscross. And kind of like intake manifold, kind of like whatever it is. And then I'll start bouncing. We'll just go back through and do a double quick check. Make sure nothing's loosened off from being tightened. Yep, that one did. Oh yeah. Oh, they all did. Okay. Well, they're all seating. So go back through, and do a double check. Oh yeah, loosen off. Oh yeah. Done. All right. Okay. Yep. Oil pan is in, nice and squished. Corners are good. Yep. Wipe off a little excess right there. Wiping off the excess. Corners are good. Corners are good. Don't really have any excess here. Not a lot. That's nice. I like that. Okay. Now, after 24 hours, that'll be cured out. It'll never leak. All right. So, now we got to flip it back over. We'll talk about heads. So if you want to see my best little video ever made, right here. If you want to see the one that they say is best for you, is right there. Y'all be good.